So you've had a great idea. You think everyone in the world's going to want this product. It's a great little gimmick. Everybody needs it or wants it. Now you want to know, should I rush down to see my patent attorney and register this? Or should I go and see a design guy or a tooling guy and get the prototypes done? What do I do? Well, I'm telling you, put your car keys away. The first thing you need to do is to look very carefully at your business model. Don't worry about the product. The business model is where the money's made. Now I can tell you this, the US Patent Office did some surveys over the last about 17, 18 years. And they looked at 5 years out from a patent application, and they interviewed people who had been granted patents, and 5 years later, how much they'd made out of it. And more than 98% of those people had not made enough money to cover the cost of their patent. How scary is that? Now, I'm going to try and save you that money, because let me tell you how it works. It's not that expensive to start your provisional patent. It's around about $5,000. If you did it yourself, it's about $600. But the problem is the clock starts ticking. What you've done is you've written down not only how your product works, what it's called and what it does, but you also have written down how to make it and how it should be implemented. So you've given away all the trade secrets in this document, and that's good if you are able to afford to protect it. You still don't know how valuable it is yet, and people are asking you for money now. Now you've got 12 months in which to build a market, because if you can't do that in 12 months, you're going to have to come up with around about $60,000 to protect your idea, even if you don't know how much that idea is worth. Now for me, I've got a different perspective. I don't think you should go out there and patent it straight away. I think you need protection, and certainly I can tell you when I do a license program with somebody for their intellectual property, having a patent adds value to it, but you don't need a patent straight away. Certainly you should never have a patent before you have a value on the project. So, and how do you get the value? You do that by three things: market validation, proof of concept, and we do what we call an internal trade sale or a transition order, which I'll explain. The first thing you do with market validation is two things. You need to know that people out there want this and need this. Not just want it, not a nice to have thing, but I need this to save myself this much money, or make myself this much money, or save myself this much time, etc. So it must be provable that it's of value and people can't really do without it. Then you have a need, not a want or a nice to have. Nice to haves are great, but they don't sell. Occasionally they will, but a need is everything people want. So once you've established that, and the way to do that cheaply is simply by a focus group. So what I do is I would get a dozen people I know who are in that target market, the decision makers who would buy this, and I put them all in one room. And I ask them, I get them to sign confidentiality agreements, non-disclosure, etc., so you don't have your information leaking out. But I don't talk about the product. I talk about the problem and the need. And I work all the way through that, so then I know the solution will fit. And I get their quotes back to that. And I don't necessarily show them anything to do with a product that will solve that problem. But I tell them, I do ask the question, if you had something that would solve that problem, would you pay $20 for that? Would you pay 15? Would you pay 5? And I work out where they say yes or no, maybe not. So you can get all that price sensitivity, you can get all the costings available before you even start, and know whether or not you have a need, you're filling a need, or you just have a nice to have, in which case you really don't have a burning need, and therefore it's not a business model that's going to stack up. The next thing you do is you look at market research. Now that includes industry research. I'm not talking about going out there and interviewing people one-on-one, but I am talking about going and getting reports that have been written for your industry by other credible people and sold to your industry, all about how the industry works, who buys what problem they solve, etc. It might not be absolutely perfect for what you're trying to do, but the information will give any reader a good understanding of where the industry is going, whether it's expanding, contracting, opting out, got a substitute product or solution to that problem. Everything of that will be explained. Now, I normally would pick those up fairly cheaply, in fact nothing, if I went to my, who I see as competitors, and particularly public listed companies, and I look at their prospectus or their annual reports, and I look for the reports that auditors have had done on new projects, particularly the competitive product. You may have to go back a few years, but you'll find it. And if you do, let me tell you something. You get a free report that'll give you everything you need to know about your industry that you're about to dive into. That's going to help you. Now, if you want more information like this to get a cheap transition from I've got an idea to I've got a business model that will make money and get investors, attractive investors with that, then I think you should click the link below and join me on one of my free webinars. That'll teach you all about how to raise capital for intellectual property. Thank you.